Shakari. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're back again. We're back at it again. Tadzoka kunge maboda nemasecho pa joiner.
Yo.
Right.
Kunge maboda nemasecho pa joiner. Ari kwese kwese longa chimbona rumboti uku akati.
Ngoti amazano vakusileya afana ngacho. Back when we were in high school, ngozi ati zvikoro zvavarwa. Ngona mjoiner mune ma group of 15, group of 9. Eba mune makarwa color blocking, skin jean red lime, t-shirt ye pink. Kepe orange. Matennis and mashules akasiyana.
Bwana arumbete arungarumbete ratzoita dzoka. Tadzoka pa episode maita sewo mdani.
Madi.
Muri kudi?
I'm alright, man. I'm alright. Not too bad.
Aiwa, munoziva kana madzoka pa chirungu daiso. Tinonzwa kufara. Tinonzwa kunzwa kuda kuti kunzwa kuti yes I.
Machiregai kudaro. It's okay. Roziya muri mafans. But it's fine.
Mafans anokajeti koma unsire komana mamusire. Tikati aiwa mukomana akamboenda Joni. Akati anzi Mandara ndichidzoka. Ndiri kuita sei? Mutipinza pa chirungu ndikati
zvakanaka stereki.
Awa.
I'm alright, man. I'm alright.
By the way, I go by the name Anzi Waswepa Greendale.
Waswepa
Greendale. Mandara Mandevu. Ameno mukati anzi.
Mandara Mandevu. Ricky Maroj.
Ayo. My name is Tanyaraza Mandara of the In Details podcast, and I welcome you to this episode.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Inini, I think kuna wasinganzi netwa vasama komba.
Vasamas.
You can call me Xavier or X. It's fine. Kana utinyasha.
X ere mama Twitter.
Hey, even from high school and I went to X because the problem was people used to call me Xavier.
All right.
Which is wrong. It's supposed to be Xavier. And it or Javier. But imagine problem manje vanonga kuti Xavier kutonge pana igwe kutango.
Vatakambotaura kuti kwawakadzidza kunoratidza kuti pronunciation yako inotosiyana panyaya kuti wakadzidze chirungu chako chakamodwa.
I get it. It plays a part. But I think it's good manners. It's polite.
All right.
To make an effort to pronounce someone's name properly.
And I love the way especially girls say Tanya.
Tanya.
Yeah? Tanya, how are you? All right, today we're talking about let's
before sorry to cut you short. Before we get into today's business, into today's rigmarole and whatnot.
Not
my announcements, to my tidbits. So, as most people know, this was the month of November, and internationally we recognize November as Men's Health Month. Not only mental health, but physical health as well. So, gentlemen out there, just make sure you keep yourself in check. If you can, visit one of these nice clinics or these private medical spaces. Get yourself screened for things like prostate cancer, things for like STIs and whatnot. So that mungo garamurichi, which is no muri fit muri right. Because I know some of you guys be moving mad out there. And also, no shave November. That's when I was figure it. I am so wrong. No shave November.
Nah.
And I also wanted to give some clarity. So, with reference to our last episode, we were speaking on issues to do with chasing of clout and whatnot, and giving my false images, and basically issues to do with a curated image. And one of our subscribers, one of our, I wouldn't say fans, a friend of ours, she's a follower of the program, she then brought up a very valid point to then say, so if you're coming from a place that is, or you're coming from a less privileged background, is it then wrong for you to put yourself in those spaces? Like we were saying last time, people would then make an effort to go to these affluent places, get take pictures and whatnot. Like that, and she brought up the angle of is it wrong for someone to get into the space that they're aspiring to gradually end up in the long run? And I said, look, I have nothing against ambition. I've got nothing against people with that vision where they want to be and everything. And, you know, dressing the way you want to be addressed and putting yourself in a space where even before you get there, maybe it's familiarization or for some it's a source of motivation. I don't have a problem with that. I think what was lost in translation was that I was trying to then say, after you then have curated your image, there comes a point where you're now trying to convince everyone that this pseudo personality that you're giving to us is actually
your lifestyle.
Your lifestyle, exactly.
It's your day-to-day everything. Like,
so I mean, I wasn't trying to shoot anyone down or pull anyone down. I think that's where things were lost in translation. But I think my issue is now when you try and then convince everyone, or you try to force everyone to accept that your created image is a reflection of your true lifestyle or of your true way of life or whatever. But shout out to Iverson Potts. Thank you so much for following,
and that insightful conversation. It's really nice if you see people having some comments which are very valuable. Like, they'll be like, yes, this person is bringing such a insightful knowledge. It just got to some other things, but so we are just saying,
it's constructive.
In the comment section, let's talk, let's have the conversation, let's talk everything in the comment sections. Msambo dance kana takanda siniga ba so sugar. Romboti z. Trurisa kuti titese. It's
an interactive platform.
So let's interact, let's correct each other, because we are saying what we are saying here is not everything correct. You, the people, you are the one who knows a lot of people. So we are just here to guide you to say what we believe that is the rightful thing. So if you believe that
I'm not rightful. I think let's just say that we are here to say everything about things that we know nothing about. To say the least.
Yeah, things are for the point of correction.
But
we are just here to
anyway.
False promises.
What's been going on, man? Catching up on current affairs. United's got a new coach. My Warriors like a qualifier.
But the game of Warriors to Rafias.
Yeah, I know you and you. I was kufara. But the good thing is we've qualified.
And the coaches are very progressive. I see. At this time, I don't think Drubu Derama group stage.
We have to see. I think we first need to see the group. What does the group look like before we start then saying, I know round of 16 boys, Makota Toshika Chichi. Gangsters.
But with this type of coach, I think we're going far, because I see commitment in Trumbona. Even the players also, they seem like one to that coach, Vafananic United. The last game, we cannot say it was one of the best games, but you see, Guti. Rashford it was like it was far much better. Yesterday's game it was far much better.
I think United
Ipswich.
United because United and now I look older than I actually am. But anyway,
so let's get straight into the main thing Chadapis did up Basin.
Oh yes, and we also need to acknowledge Kuti Zesa Trangarana Nas.
Yangato snitcher baba.
Zesa Trangarana Nas, because as you can see we're shooting with natural daylight. Yeah, Tnagumirama gets na 9 Zosigo. I think we're now living in a space where Mukasquera Queen gets
like it's an achievement.
But achievement. But
is it a good thing? Like we could magesa square rico to fara kutanzi magesa square rico. Is it a good thing?
I think that one is a bit of a sensitive issue because it has some connotations that are somewhat political. But let's just say we pray better days are coming.
And
better days are coming. Although my better days are coming. I think I'm going to kutamba because
and Chavana, today is a blessed day because as a in the square tina.
Which is a good thing. But let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. What do we have for today?
Today, what do we have? Paningema false promise. False promises. Kumbuita ngemeba ngomorumbo ndi. We are saying it either it's in a relationship, a romantic relationship, father-son relationship, my personal relationships, in church, at workplace, as yourself. False promises. So the first thing we just have to delve into, can we distinguish between a false promise and kuti munapa a false promise? Munhu akutaurira chinhu kuti aiwa ndiri kuenda kuita chinhu ichi summers mukauya panapa paepisode soon after ndikupai 2 grand after 2 grand after episode reta sei rapera 2 grand yaya anoita sei anozokupai. So we just want to distinguish between
go on.
Like a false promise ne a genuine commitment. What's the difference between
that? Speaks for itself. I mean, false promise. False promise is Tongodichi. It's a promise that is made, and then it's not fulfilled when it's supposed to be fulfilled. You promise someone, ABC. I'll definitely do ABC on day chakatu with on Monday, whatever, and then they don't fulfill. And then maybe someone is let down or whatever. It's a false promise. And you make a commitment and then you don't own up to the commitment. That's a false promise in my view. And then a genuine commitment, I think it's just the opposite of that. You say you're committing to do something and then you go through with it. Otongo ita unozotasha wangu na tu ndisha nchukupika tichenda kwa kati 2 o'clock ndo bandari za biro pa gate pako wangu katitese
goodbye
and you got to find. So when you commit, I think when you do commit to something and you follow through, then that's a genuine commitment. And I would say it's a fulfilled promise. You owned up to whatever it is that you promised to do. My false promise is, you give people the hope, or you give people the impression that you're going to deliver on something and then you don't.
All right.
Yeah.
So obvious, naga kwacho katangiri having some false promises my relationships. Why is it? We're in a relationship. Me with my girlfriend, we're in a relationship. We're just having some vibes. Why is it? Rudo pisa baba.
Yeah, vibe.
Trikubvira. Mabvira wira. Why is it?
Muskumira.
Atusumira. Then we are just promising each other, baby, me, I don't kana ndikatanga udana naniwe. Maybe I'm a drinker. Why is it? Ndikatanga udana naniwe. Baby, anchaitisi. Antishangu. Baby, ndikatanga udana naniwe. Ndivyo anchaitisi. And chaching it.
I actually want to see the day you're going to say that.
Baby, I tango dana naniwe. Within a year, unongwa my kind. Tutaukanda pachi. Tutaukanda pa kitchen. Those are promises. So are we saying good in Dambotanga in a relationship, like a romantic relationship? How does it go? You promise somebody because people will be.
It's false advertising on its own, because you're saying these things to someone to the effect of them doing what you want. So basically, it's borderline manipulation because you know what this person wants. And dimfesa anonga chaps, anonga ma beers, or and dimfesa no chingeta ndevu or something, or I want to get married within the year, and then you use that against them because it's information that they've shared with you. My intentions are my goals are and whatever. Then you use that because already it appeals to their psyche. It's something that they want, and it becomes manipulation. Because you use that information to get what you want, and most probably it's you being involved with them.
All right.
Right. So when you do that, now it's manipulation, it's false advertising, false promises. And to be fair, I believe I understand but on the flip side of it, it's very, I think it's just bad practice. It's bad practice because already you're starting a relationship off on a base of lies.
But a lot of people, they always say, especially in relationships, girls, I don't want to say like to do some bad mouthing, but a lot of people, they will be like, girls are the one who always say, always give us some false promises. Let's say Tanya, me and my girlfriend, I say, yo baby, got bad kira but then
you tell your hand come through.
Yeah, baby. Today it's a Saturday. I'm not. I'm available. Please, can you just come over? Maybe we can have some snacks or something like that. We can.
Maybe let's go for a movie or
something
like
that.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, that person will be like, instantly, like on that day, she'll be like, "Yo, Tanya, she was the one who promised we have to meet, right? But now she'll be like, Tanya, something came up. Mama say I have to go and buy something kutown, but she was the one who promised something." So in a relationship, we are two people, we know each other, we promise things, we trust each other, right? You told me like, Tanya, we are going to do this, then soon after I'm the one who ever do like the ndinatoita follow up baba yokutobvunza kuti saka baby uchiri kuuya here, iwe uzotanga uzondizoti baby kumba kwedu kwazoikitse kwedu yazorwara zvazove wagwan.
You know what, I think that one, it's a multifaceted situation, because it could be a genuine reason for her not coming. Pamela's sure she's been sent on a different errand by the mom, or something really has come up.
How about my fear is, I know what I'm saying, I'm not the only person who's complaining about this. My fear rukunzogo, my baby mangane kuti makaplana mese kuti murusangana mswe Saturday. And she was the one who said, let's say, baby, let's meet. Then overtanga zumbuti from Norway. I can't. Kumba kwedu kwazodai. Kana kuti ndaenda ma periods. Singe ma periods. Ndaenda kwakadai, so why is it?
You know what?
I know that I'm not the only one.
No, a lot of gents complain about this. I think maybe there's some level on the gents side. There's some level of some short-sightedness, if I might say. That when we do then make these arrangements, we've agreed we meet on Saturday or whatever, whether it's for a movie, it's for lunch, or she's coming over, you're going over, whatever. And then when we do then register that, I think there's some short-sightedness that comes to play when we don't take into account the fact that something might come up, genuinely might come up. So then now, because you've already shifted your plans, kind of boys, or you've already told the boys, gents, today we can't go watch the game, or today we can't go for drinks, or we can't go for rugby, whatever.
And that's the sad part, because you know what Twitter my plans are what might set aside.
Yeah, because obviously you've made a commitment to then say, look, I'm going to do this and this and this. And then when this person then does come to you and then say, look, I'm sorry, I know we'd made plans, but such and such has come up, we can't go for lunch, or I can't come over, or whatever. I think there's a need for us to be understanding to a certain level, because these things happen. These things happen in life. Things come up unplanned all the time.
All right.
But then the problem also comes, I think it becomes a problem now when it becomes a habit, right? That you make plans and this person has the tendency of cancelling on plans just because. And they have a tendency of coming up with the silliest of excuses.
That's the day.
The shoes that I wanted to wear are not clean. You know, something along those, something, even they there's times when people then they even begin to use their family members as excuses. My mom said I can't go out, or my little brother's home is sick, or whatever. And then maybe later on you do then find out that it was a bogus statement.
Obvious.
So now I think when it becomes an issue where there's a history of these excuses being made under false pretenses, then you can start having questions where you then say, is this person trustworthy? Pane tendency, false promises.
So can somebody do this intentionally? Like, can somebody make a false promise intentionally? Like, yes, we are, because one is very kunyeba, vari kunyebedzera, vari kukupa chimwe chipicture. Maybe mutofunga kuti mutodanana, iwe maybe mwe arutodira kana kabhima kako karutofamba na karutofamba nako, waiziya. So in so doing, you think you are having a goodest time, but somebody is just hunting for something. So can somebody do, like, promise something over tadza kuchita, doing a false intentionally, achitovhitira for her greedy or for his greedy doings, atoni ziso raakavhura kuti yo ndakavhurira icho ndodandidombobvunza?
That is common. It's a common occurrence. It's a common occurrence in both men and women, because you find there's a certain level of being naive that comes to a person when you are in a euphoric state. You are excited. Maybe you've been chasing after this chick for the past 2-3 years, or sorry, not 3 years. For the past for the past 2-3 months, right?
3 years, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know some people, needless to mention names, but you've been pursuing this chick for the past 2-3 months. And maybe you really are starstruck, because maybe she's a baddie. She's a real baddie. She's a baddina, proper 8 out of 10 thing. You know what I'm saying? She's everything and then more. And then
that's 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
She's not genuinely interested in you. And then, or maybe she has something, or he has something that they want from you. Then they give you the impression that you guys are now dating. Right? Only for them to serve their own agenda, which is very human in nature, because everyone, at the core of our being, whatever it is that we do, at the end of the day, we're trying to serve our own personal agenda. Mm-hmm. It's nothing sinister. It's part of human nature. It's a survival trait, right? We always go after what we desire. And then I think Unozotanga also realize that 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, you always meet, either you always go to a place and there's no one there, or you always meet in places where you know no one. You can't go out with them in public, or things like that. Or and then dating actually mama spy games.
One them there. With them
mama spy CIA, my KGB, my CIO. Then you start wondering. So yeah, we can regard it as a false promise, whereas they do give you the impression that, look, we are dating. And in your mind, you've been assured, no, we are now in a committed relationship. But at the end of the day, there's an ulterior motive, there's hidden agendas. We've seen this happen all the time. Mm-hmm. We've seen girls who've believed that this mandem is my mandem for over a year, only to bump into the mandems with another hand who also has been dating this guy for the past 2 years. So I'm say you can't fully understand what's really going on. Maybe only they wanted to be in a relationship with you. Probably it was for sexual relations, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe it was for keeping up appearances. Maybe you're a bad. Yeah. You could, because I know a lot of guys, you know.
But papa chimomera mabibi mazhinji relationship mazwano ari kupindira gwapo mune mare mare ripo.
Let me be straight with you.
Mare ripo.
Let me be straight with you.
Kanosina mare bibi ari kuoni.
I know we'll catch a lot of heat for this, but Chris Rock said men are loved provided they can provide something. Only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. As long as you're a man.
Dogs? Why dogs?
No, because dogs are they are men's best friend. You know what I'm saying? But it's a fact that you need to come to terms with as a man. The only woman who loves you unconditionally is your own mother. Is your own mother. Even your own sisters can even get to a point where they will sideline you because maybe you're the one sibling who's failing to pull his own weight. Maybe things are not going well for you, and maybe when you do have a family function, they end up having to buy the drinks for you and paying for your ticket for the family trip or whatever. And then they'll end up mkomariki kana takwenda ku Christmas this year. I think you want to ngwafundira tatosvika kuti takaenda. Yeah. Only your mother, even ukanzuru kuraram street wachigunduru, only your mother can love you unconditionally. Which also to some extent can be debatable for it, because some mothers will also then treat you differently, provided on the basis of what is it that you're bringing to the table.
Right.
But so with that being said, when you say girls are getting into relationships for money,
for the money
mostly, so this is what I've understood. They are to find a mate, a viable mate, a mate that can provide, that can protect, that can care for you, right? So women are attracted to power, and women are attracted to strength. And in the primal sense of things, she's talking back to when it was cavemen and everything. You know, for you to be someone who can exhibit strength, you need to be in a position where you can show that you can provide, because provision was a direct result of you being a strong person. You needed that strength for you to be able to hunt. That is per provision. You needed the strength for you to be able to fight and defend. That's where when you're coming to the issue of protecting your woman, your family, and everything. Women are on the nurturing side of things, right? So when you then say women are in it for the money, to be fair, as a man, if you cannot then provide a certain environment, it's difficult for you to be attractive. That's why for men, looks are not as important. Looks are not as important. So now, in today's age, it seems like they're after guap, because all of the things that I've been explaining, they translate to something that is monetary. For you to provide for your family nowadays, you don't necessarily have to go and hunt.
You need money.
You need to provide shelter. That means you're paying rent or buying a house. You need money. If it means you're providing food, you need to buy it from the supermarket. You need money. If you're going to protect your family, you're going to need to put them in housing that is safe. You need money. So that money is the translation of the strength that you show. So that money also gives off that impression of power.
All right.
That women that are attracted to. Women, by nature.
So in the spirit of the telling false promises, people, they'll be making false promises, they'll be making false statements to achieve whatever they want to achieve in life. Either it's at workplace, either it's a church, or it's in a relationship. So what are the common manipulative tactics which people are using so that they can get whatever they want through making those false statements, through making those false promises? Because I know we have morals in life. We'll be like, nah, somebody don't have to manipulate me using that and that and that and that. Because obvious, let's say in a relationship, people, you know each other, so you know my weaknesses. So me as Tanya and Awuza Bibrangu, me, my weaknesses are this and this and this. Then you as a partner, you go on and make false promises upon those weaknesses that you know with mandala tikambata ni apa, it's going to make him fall for everything zviri kuenda kutaura, and that would be an easy pass. Why is there easy pass? Like where I'm coming from. People, they are making these false promises. Wachitotangira pane zvimwe zvinhu zvomoti you'll be like, is this person a real friend? Is this person a real workmate? Is this person a real lover? Is this person a churchmate? Because those false promises, they are being made by people who they are dear to you, not by strangers. Where's there? Someone who is dear to you, a family member can make a false promise. Like, this person really knows me, and they are attacking, using those things that you were saying. Yeah, like you're like, I'm talking to this person as a good thing, but somebody's just like, yo. So what you say concerning about those manipulative tactics to false promises?
So what I can say to you is the art of manipulation it's all about appealing to the human psyche.
All right.
Right. You know what someone wants. So what do you do whenever you use these issues like my false promises, so as we're calling them? It's all about presenting someone with incentive. You know someone is after something. So you give them the impression that there's something in it for them. That's how these things work. Just like, I'll give you a very good example, makombi. And it ukakwira kombi uchibva kuno Greendale, and then maybe you've got business in downtown. Unokwira kombi chidedzera chi joiner. You know, I can join, I'm closer to downtown. Copacabana. Then kombi yokumira kuna 4th. Yotomira yoko. Now, but because you wakwira mkombi under the impression yekuti chi ndichanosvika kudhuze nekwandoda kuenda. Same thing even makombi anobva like nanashitungisa. Like recently makombi, as most people know, makombi ekuchitown mamwe acho hapinde mutown. Anogumira fly over. And because nemakombi anoziva kuti most people who use public transport don't want kudzikira because now there's a strap involved. You have to strap for another maybe 10-15 minutes to pin them down. Wadzikira ku ABC kana Croco Motors. So what do? They know to come here as them down. But for them to tell you that it's not a business, and on their part what they are looking for, what they are after, they lose that because they are after customers and they want money. They know what it is that you want is kukwira kombi, you know, not zikisira town for convenience purposes. So they give you the false impression that there's convenience involved in using our transport. So kukwira kombi, no, Dara, don't worry, murenki, inoshika murenki. Then mango shika pipe zenza abereki takuchkorera vana. Conductor actovura do dzikaiva bereki kombi yaperera vana. Right. They've already gotten that $1 or $1.50 from you that they were looking for. Even you have already gone into a situation where you cannot ask for a refund because in essence town. That's where these issues come in, and it's not only like that's on the business part of things. Even kana vanhu vachitengesa zvinhu I am madumas atemwa nhasi ndanhasi chocho, but maybe pasi patino pamwe madumas akuda kutoshata. And they give you that. It's mostly when you manipulate is for personal gain, and you do that by presenting the possibility of incentive, possibility of gain to someone.
So, Apa, you were explaining in the business aspect, right?
Yeah.
But now there are people involved. There are emotions. It's love. It's there are relationships. Somebody's guilt tripping. He's now using some insecurities that you know which this person is insecure about this, so they are coming sideways, gaslighting you, doing everything. Kuti wangu achita si hidden agendas kumboita nge mebamwe atorine zvaruku obvious munhu anonga ruziya zvaruda but habudisi pacheno.
We all know what we want before we get into these relationships, right? I understand that people will say I got into it and I wanted to see how things would go, which is it's a realistic approach because it happens a lot of times. But to be fair, usually when someone approaches someone, when someone makes an advance, There's something that has pulled them towards that person, right? And more often than not, what you're after, supposedly maybe it's purely physical, right? Let's say this is in a romantic relationship. Maybe what you're after is purely physical. But for most people, for them to give you access to that physical space, there needs to be some form of emotional connection. So now, under false pretenses, you then begin to give these false promises. I really care about you. I care about your issues. Now you're listening to someone when they're now venting out and they're being vulnerable to you. Only for you to then use that sensitive information to snake your way around and then get what you're looking for, get what you're after. And it's a very common occurrence, unfortunately. And you see a lot of people, they fall prey to this, and then after it happens, like, how could he do this to me? I was so vulnerable with him or her.
Obvious.
Because I don't want to lie, and I think most people, if not all people, especially Tishtasa my viewers, they've been through a similar situation where you've really, you let your guard down. Then you open up. And then you say, look, I feel like this person is being genuine. And you really believe they're being genuine. But then at the end of the day, after they've gotten what they wanted, they've buckled up. They're like, yo, I don't think this is going to work for us anymore. And now you've invested.
Ajga. Kumana nonga ajga.
But shona unonzwa ungu achitanza aguta haoneki.
Kumana nonga ajga.
Aguta haoneki. Same thing with Hans. I've seen a lot of guys, they go out of their way getting a second shift, or even if it was at school, spina Marie rent, Marie grocery to try and make an extra buck and try and impress this hand. And maybe this hand was like, okay, fine, I'm in it for the favors, for the bag,
for the
whatever.
guap.
The moment the guap dries up, then my phone was off. Kusna network. 4 days, kusna network. Even thinking, is Drive Monsieur really in business? Because if it's 4 days no network, then you start wondering. Then unfortunately, you realize when it's too late.
Obvious.
And sometimes it happens as a rude awakening. Maybe you then do bump into this chick who you've been trying to get on the phone with for 4 days now. After she's chowed all the sheets, the little money that you had, you are hoping that maybe you're trying to show affection by spending. You get what I'm saying? Now when the spending is no more spendable because there's no more expenditure to spend.
But that's what I'm saying with T. It's not good because people, they are doing it for their personal gain. And truly speaking, you know what it's like, all your heart, all your effort, everything, and somebody will be like, F you, what the? And you'll be like,
it's human nature, bro, unfortunately.
Girl, I just did everything I'm supposed to do, and you were just tip-topping. You were just walking all over, like...
It's human nature. It's very, very difficult for you to find a person who's doing something completely for the gain of someone else, where they have 0% gain. From that, I think it's a statistical improbability to find someone who can say, I'm doing this completely for someone else. I have nothing to gain from this.
All right. On spiritual aspect, on my spiritual growth and development, right? How can we distinguish false promises, right, with divine promises? Somebody obviously.
Can you define what a divine promise is?
All right. Tripa killers. Church, spiritually, me as a believer, I've been promised for divine intervention in my life. Mandara, if you seed mune zvinhu zvamwari Mwari anoita sei anokupa zvakawanda uripanzwa anzi ukapa Mwari anotsindira zvawapa zvezvo zvawanzwa 5 or 10 times are better saka ipa 10,000 unozodzozerwa ya 25,000 ya 100,000. So are we saying kuti this this divine promises is it in line with being promised falsely.
Who's making these promises?
Are we saying in churches? Are we saying in churches are becoming worse than mosques? Like, isn't like me if I put my dollar could man you wenda wina mangwana. Kana Maria at least most ndoto zoti promise yangu irita say
it's give or take.
It's 50-50 ndatoendesa $10 yangu injuga $10 yangu yabaya kana kuti mari yangu ikasadzoka mari ikarohwa mari yangu ita say. But here in church somebody is saying if you seed 10,000 mari anokunzwa and the fact yekuti people be like the more you give the more you get. If you give $1, somebody you may some will be saying kuti ni moyo mwara anotarisa moyo.
So the question here is
spiritually are we saying kuti how
whoever is making these declarations, do they have the authority to be making these declarations on behalf of God?
As well saying,
that's
people
the first
nowadays people they are doing things for their personal gain. As we were just saying, nobody is doing anything just I'm doing it for the sake of what is just being done. No, I have to benefit something. So maybe he or she will be doing it in the fact equity iwewa ausuzviona indirect, because in the name of the church it's very sad, because imagine church don't even pay those taxes or whatever. They are just non-profit organization, so they will be like, okay, me I'm just doing those divine promises. Achadutaura kuti ningina ningi warudai. Why is there? But
let me cut you off right there. Let me cut you off. When it comes to the issues of religion and spirituality, you need to understand that there's a disparity between the two. Religion and spirituality are not the same thing. Religion is an institution. There's structures to these things. And unfortunately, religion has always been a manipulative means of dealing with people, right? Religion has been used as a tool for colonization. Religion has been used as a tool, as a means for oppression. Religion has been used as a means for embezzlement and swindling of money. Religion has been used in so many ways because there's an inherent belief within most people that there is a higher power. And now and that's spirituality. Your belief in a higher power, whether unoenda ku church, pastori, unoenda ku Roma, unoenda ku AFM, Muslim, you're Buddhist or whatever, that inherent belief that there is a higher power it comes from your spiritual nature. Because personally, I believe that we are spiritual beings. And it has nothing to do with where you are. But now the thing with religion is it's been structured in such a way that to some extent it's manipulative, right? You find there are certain churches or certain denominations or certain religions that'll tell you, if you don't do A, B, and C, then you cannot get divine intervention. You cannot, your prayer cannot be heard because if you're not under a tree, or your prayer cannot be heard if it's not 3 a.m. in the morning. Your prayer cannot be heard if you do not leave $10,000 or $2,000 at church. You cannot receive if you do not give. Everything that is within religion nowadays, or even since back then, it's always been transactional. It's always been transactional. This is why you see, like for some churches, needless to mention names, if you have to go for one-on-one with men of God, and there's a fee that is to be paid. Since when is spiritual intervention charged?
Yeah, because
where is the stock exchange? They're trading at $4.50 a blessing.
Because almost everything have to be biblical. We have to have a reference. I would say maybe something like this was really
the Bible in itself it's a precept of religion. The Bible itself is a product of religion. That's why you see the Bible, it comes true as now people use it as a means, as a manual, right? Bible, Pacharo. by a certain list of guidelines. Even back then, when it was still Moses and leather sandals, for you to receive blessings, you had to burn a sheep at the altar. Right? For you to have blessings coming your way, you have to tithe. You have to give 10% of whatever it is that you're making. Which bank does God use? I would like to know which bank he uses. So that is you're depositing it for the purpose. If God owns everything, I think it was what's his name? Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin said, if God was all-knowing, all-powerful, and is the creator of everything, and he owns everything, why they gotta give him money? There's no way that nigga is broke. There's no way he's broke because he owns everything. So why do we then have to give him things for? As long as there's an exchange, it becomes transactional. And the moment things become transactional, things then become matriculated. As long as part transaction, it becomes matriculated. Chingwa chineta dollar. Okay, na 50 cents awanichi. Awani loaf. Saka zvawungofana kunzi kana ndichinzi ndofana kupa Mwari kuti ndowane blessing. My blessings are not traded how much over the counter. Kana tiri kuRoma anonzi ndeye mari my blessings. Kana ta ku UFI anonzi ndeye mari. Personally, I'm not well versed in issues to do with theology. I will be honest about that, but I also want to then point out, Kuti, it's a bit dubious, to be fair. Because right now, you look at most of these churches, they've become money-making enterprises. There's a certain church where when you go there, the entire service, the 2-3 hours that you're there, or the 4 hours that you're there, the offertory basket does not stop circulating. From the moment you sit down to the moment you leave the church, basket no for about 14-15 times. And I'm like, okay, fine. And now when the gospel is being preached in such a manner where you are now being guilt-tripped, you're being put in a position where you're being told, you're made to feel like if you don't do this, if you don't leave money at church, personally, what I believe, spirituality is about your personal relationship with your creator.
All right, let me catch you there.
Yeah.
So how can I maintain a good relationship as a man of faith? Like, I'm a person who goes to church. I'm a Christian. I believe in God, right? So if you believe in God, it means that in everything that you do, you have faith. If you have anything you want from God, you just have to have faith, right? Faith is that belief that something which is not there, it will be there through the Lord who intervene in you, right? So how can I have a healthy relationship, like a healthy understanding of maintaining my faith with the false promises which will be happening in the church, in the fraternity of the spiritual world?
Okay. I think it now comes down to an issue of discernment, personal conviction. As an individual, you need to sit down and put aside the doctrines or the dogmas of the church that you grew up in. Personally, I grew up Catholic. I'm still Catholic. But there are certain things that are within the Catholic Church that I do not subscribe to. Do you know why that is? I'm trying to foster a relationship that makes sense, so to speak. That makes sense as far as my spirituality goes. Because you cannot be a blind follower for your faith to make sense. The moment you become a blind follower, things will not really make sense. And that's when you see there are people, when a figure within their church or within the religion does something that is leftward, and it's whether aura ya munu. Remember when we were talking about fanaticism the last time, it falls as well ku religion. Kune fanaticism yekuti kune mamaroma ekunzi zvikanzi pop nhasi vangomuka vakangotaura kuti takufamba tisina kupfeka papa vakati. You know what I'm saying? There are certain people, like I said, I'm not going to be name dropping because it's a sensitive issue. But certain churches that originally are from Zimbabwe, where their founders were still around and everything, where if you then make a negative remark, or you point out something negative that has been done by their founder or their man of God or whatever, they will fight tooth and nail more than they will fight for their own mother's life to defend their man of God, because they've become so fanatic about that person to the point where they rub out logic. So logic plays a very important part when it comes to faith. When it comes to your faith, when it comes to your spirituality, logic plays an important part. You sit down, you ask yourself, what are the basics of a good spiritual life, of a good life that is based in faith? There is a universal code of goodness. Muslim, or Christian, or Buddhist. There are certain things that preservation of human life is necessary for musaurai anditi musaite zvinhu zvinokanganisa peace yemwe munhu musabe musaite semsadi. You follow those things, then you come and look for the point of intersection nezviri kuchurch kwenyu. Church kwenyu unogona kungochitoenda every Sunday, but that discernment then comes pega paunofanira kuona kuti this I should follow, this I should not. I think that's what makes you into being a person with a very healthy spiritual life.
All right.
Yeah.
So, professionally, let's say I'm a worker. Obviously, shanda kuturara meujiki shanda. So in workplaces, people with power, of course, those are the ones who have the privilege to give people promises. Maybe you are the manager, maybe you are the accountant, you are somebody, you are giving people some promises, right? Then in giving people some promises, you are giving them false promises. So can false promises hinder or destroy someone's professional reputation or career development? Let's say me, Dimpana, Ndrika GT, ndambopinzwa as a graduate trainee lokwakaunzwa izi pagraft ndakuza afana chimbotaurawo kuti mari tiri kupa ichi next week waiziya next week mari yataziya kuti tasvika.
That is very unfortunate.
So,
but very true. Do you know why? You've become a conduit of the company. You are an extension of the manager. So it now also goes back to do you know how to play around with your words? Because you also need to protect yourself from certain exposure.
But besides, let's say
don't worry guys, next week you must come in a certain guys, listen, the communication from upstairs is that money is going to come in next week. At least you've protected yourself from, because now when that money does not come, it will affect you professionally. My professional relations are going now open babas. Because there are certain people, you need to understand that when you deliver a message, understanding differs from person to person. So for some people, already when you're giving that message, they're seeing you going back to the account office and wiring money to their account. Maybe you're utoshandi kupero. Pamori busy to balance kushquerit. Data nechi. But when go to let's send him, let him go. So this issue of the professional environment, when it comes to issues to do with false promises, it greatly affects your reputation, because now it spoils your credibility. People cannot now discern whether what you're saying, you're being genuine or you're just trying to calm the rough waters. When people are complaining about salaries, you tell them something, no, Maripka, next week, just so that you avoid industrial action, you avoid people going on strike.
Let's say you are a salesperson, right? We're talking about a salesperson, you are selling somebody some things. Yo, I'm going to share my computer. They'll be like, yo, I took Pinza Mtona, something like that. Now you are a representative of a company. You are going to negotiate, maybe if you want to buy something, they're saying, Mandara, so when are you going to pay our man is mtakupa our services. We have we've do this and that and that and that. So when are you going to pay? Then you make a false promise on behalf of the company. Obviously, you have the authority. Maybe I just to maybe usina authority. You have the authority to do it. Then you are making some false promises. Kuti, you know, Kuti, the company may pay that thing, but in so doing, they may not pay. But
that's just,
in the reputation of the company.
That's just poor business ethic. To be fair, it's just poor business ethic because when you're working with vendors, right? Like in the corporate space, the people my vendors, my service providers. When you're working with my vendors and they are going to maybe they're the ones who service your computers per craft, or maybe they're the ones who provide you with maybe your toiletries or whatever. They provide you a service, or maybe like my industry, like some people, they bring in my laundry companies and everything. It's bad business practice because they're going to also change on their delivery. Service delivery, shifter. Because even when you then go and say, look, we have another order for such and such and such, and last time you promised them to give them money on the 30th of November, you need to pay them in March. You are now 4 months behind on a payment. Then you go for the second time. No, to that service here, foot. We want that service again. This time they might even do a shoddy job. They might not do the work to the best of their ability because they know the probability that you guys may not pay on time is there because you've done it before. So it spoils your reputation as a company. It spoils your reputation even as an individual who works with the company. Especially in a situation where you come in for the first round of business. You make a promise to these guys. Right. It's not your fault. The promise is not kept on the company's part. The company fails to pay, but you were then you were told, tell them we're paying you in 2 weeks.
Obviously, you are the
2 weeks comes, they don't manage to pay, but because they associate the company with your face,
obvious.
Already they say, and then when the second round of business, maybe I'm the one who goes. This time around, the company pays on time as they say they will. They're going to say, so back then, why did they not pay on time? This time I'll go back on time. They begin to suspect, later on. So now already they have a preconceived notion to then say, Ricky has a problem. He's the dishonest one. So when it has a trickle-down effect, the company's actions may reflect on you either in a positive or in a bad way. Yeah.
So how can I set boundaries? Those are false promises, because obvious as an individual, you are being falsely promised over something. You have to cater for it because emotions, they are being hurt. A lot of things are promise so you are being hurt. So how can we set boundaries within myself as an individual for me to cater for the false promises, for the hurt it caused to me?
I'll give you a very simple statement. Prepare for the worst, but still pray for the best.
Yo, that's Lil Wayne.
Yeah, obviously, that's easy. Prepare for the worst, but still pray for the best. You should always take things with a pinch of salt. You should always expect disappointment. Because, so that when it then does come, you're not surprised. Never expect things to go smoothly. We plan, God laughs. I think it's in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken.
It was nice having a good conversation with you.
It's been good, man. It's been good. It's been a while, but we're back. It was a nice experience.
We're back on Gemsana.
Yeah. I'd missed being behind the mic. I'd missed being in front of the camera. It's always a wholesome time. It's always wholesome. It's always good vibes. December is upon us, guys. Kid December. seems like this year kunogona kusina festive because kazizi kacho kana pa TV apasati pane ma jingles nene
kunze kunokuchinaya this time wana akuna kufara kunze
aiwa mvura ititadzi kufara zve
unanonga chinakwa mvura imo zvasi
kumafara kunoendeka neumbrella umbrella ita $3 wangu
zakonotamba wakabata umbrella
kana kungoregedza umbrella andiembe unonanika dzinooma. You know what? I've got a friend of mine who's been telling me, look, life is too short to take boring trips, to spend boring weekends. Enjoy as much as you can whilst you can when you can. When you are now incapacitated, whether it's financially or physically, uchakura uchatadza kujamba ngoma.
Nakwa.
Uchakura Maria wayesimbotenga 4 coats yakuda kutenga mapamba. So you need to do things when they're meant to be done. Get what I'm saying?
I want to
live in the moment.
So
but be careful as well. Live in the moment but be cautious. Tezvenyu muchiziva kuti mangwana zuva rinobuda.
Mangwana kuriku.
Exactly.
Saka imi ma subscriber one ka 44 ka 44 ka 45 ka 46 ka 444 ma sub ma
awande baba. Keep subscribing, keep liking, keep sharing. It's much appreciated. So that the family grows,
bigger,
the family
and
grows
bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap, and again, thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
And that was our episode for today, and see you next time. Adios from Mandara Diaries.
Ricky Barrage! One time. Ichi day singadi kamera topedza. Topedza.
Mandara wadiko.